So any questions from previous session? Okay. So normally, as we have discussed during the traditional infrastructure, if it is a physical server and running with Windows Server 2012 and some application on top of it, if you want to perform any planned maintenance work, okay, planned maintenance work in the sense server is running fine, but some of the hardware component you need to replace because it's failed. Okay. So some of the hardware component inside the machine is failed. So you need to shut down and replace. To shut down, we need to stop the application. We need to shut down the operating system, then shut down the physical server, replace the part, then power on back again. So you need to stop your business applications for your planned maintenance work. Okay. Any planned maintenance on the hardware, you need to shut down your business application that is running on top of it. If it is a physical server. If it is ESXi, also same. If you want to perform any maintenance here, you need to shut down multiple virtual machines. Okay. Even though it is a planned activity, you are stopping your business applications. To avoid that business impact during a planned maintenance work, VMware has developed a feature called live migration. VMware says it's Vmotion, but other people, few English people, call it as hard migration and live migration. Technically, it's called Vmotion. So moving a powered on virtual machine, this virtual machine is powered on and running, some applications also running, and it is powered on. You are moving this virtual machine from one ESXi machine to another ESXi machine. Okay, it's called Vmotion. VM files will be on the same storage, same data store. We are not touching the files. Only virtual machine will be moved from here to here, completely from one hardware to another hardware. You are moving the virtual machine as it is along with its applications as well. Okay, it will be moved like this. Okay. So the application will be running itself. There will be no impact to the applications which are running inside the virtual machine. When the applications are running itself, VM is powering on, completely moving from one hardware to another hardware. The person who is working on that machine even will not be notified, will not have any kind of impact, and even will not be knowing what is happening in the backend. He will be working with the applications. Something like Facebook or WhatsApp that you will be using, right? Anytime if you access, they will be working only. But those applications will be running on these virtual machines like this, and the virtual machines will be moving here and there whenever it is needed. Even the application which we are using, right, Teachment, running on a virtual machine, it might have moved from to multiple hosts. Meanwhile, when we are discussing itself, we did not face any issue, and whatever we are discussing, we are still discussing. You did not miss anything. Okay, from remote people, however, you are able to listen and see the screen, whatever it is. You are continuing to watch, but the application which is hosting this link, that URL, the classroom, might be moved from one host to another host already. Okay, when it is needed, will be. There will not be impact. There will not be any impact on the virtual machine and applications also. So if someone asks like, will there be any impact or will there be any downtime? So both are same. So no impact here. It's a live migration. When the VM is running itself, we are moving from one hardware to another hardware. Okay, without any application outage. Application will be continue to function. So when you do that, if you migrate both the machines here to the destination, now this host is empty. Applications are still running. You can shut down this machine and replace the hardware. Perform whatever the maintenance that you want to work, you can maintenance. You can do your maintenance here. So without stopping applications, you can perform your maintenance. But in older days, traditional days, we have to shut down the physical server and perform maintenance. Here we are performing our maintenance work without stopping the applications. That's the huge difference. That's why people started using this technology. Their maintenance, they don't need to stop their business applications for their planned hardware or software maintenance. Okay, one of the best use case or best benefit for the customer to use virtualization technology. So they can perform their maintenance without shutting down the business applications. In traditional days, they used to shut down until their maintenance, the application used to be done. But here, we don't need to bring it down. Fine. So that's why people started using this technology. Not only just explained, it worked as well. For the people with business applications, it did not impact. Okay, so the live used to go, applications, whatever it is. That's called Vmotion. Okay, the purpose of this Vmotion is to perform planned maintenance work. Hardware or software maintenance. To perform planned software or hardware maintenance work. Next, to achieve this goal, in this case, we are not touching the files. Files will be on the same data store. Only virtual machine will be migrated from one ESXi machine to another ESXi machine. Now, so to achieve this without impacting the applications which are running inside the machine, okay, So we are able to migrate from one host to another host. There are some minimum requirements to achieve this. It's called prerequisites or minimum requirements for Vmotion. First one, Vmotion should be enabled on the source and destination host. First of all, the Vmotion feature should be enabled on the source host and destination host. Okay. So Vmotion should be enabled on the source and destination host. Which port group will use for Vmotion? Port group that is used for Vmotion. No idea?
Thousand.
These are the minimum requirement that should be satisfied before we reach. No, I'm asking about port group, not the port.
VM kernel port group.
Yes, thanks. So the Vmotion should be enabled on the VM kernel port group. Okay. We'll see how to enable it. First, Vmotion should be enabled here on the source host and destination host. Okay. Once you enable, the another requirement is there should be same CPU family and generation as well. Let's say if this host is having a processor, physical server, having a processor of Intel, let's say Xeon E5 processor. The second host has AMD generation 3. Is it possible to Vmotion now? So clearly no. And what if now? Now? Yes or no? From remote, you should respond. In this case, is it possible to Vmotion between these two hosts or not? Answer is here only, the second step itself. I'm asking question from here. What is the difference here? I mean, difficulty. It should be same family and same generation as well. So in this case, generation is different, so it will not work. It should be exactly E5 only. Right? Then only Vmotion will work. So this is the point like where we should be careful while purchasing the hardware itself. Okay. Fine. Any confusion here? Fine. So it should be same CPU family and generation as well. Otherwise, Vmotion will not work. Same network settings. If a VM is connected to a port group here, which is named as, let's say, capital letter prod, and on the destination, if it is small prod, it will not work. Okay, it should be exactly the case sensitive. Port group name and VLAN ID should be exactly same as on the source, however it is connected. Whatever the port group, it is connected here on the source. However, this virtual machine is connected to the port group, it should be configured exactly the same way on the second host as well. Okay. So otherwise, after moving this VM, we will lose network connection. Okay. Same network setting. And no CD DVD images. Normally, from here we will attach the ISO images to the virtual machines. From here, we will attach it to the virtual machine. Okay. And if it is connected live like this, you cannot Vmotion. Even though if the ISO is on shared storage, if it is connected to the VM, it will be bounded via the host. So it is not possible to Vmotion the VM with the ISO image connected. So we need to disconnect that ISO image from the VM, then migrate. These are the minimum requirements for a successful Vmotion. Very, very important. Okay. So Vmotion prerequisites on daily basis we will not be working, but it's very important for interview point of view. Very common question. Okay. What are the minimum requirements for a Vmotion? Clear? So Vmotion should be enabled on the source and destination host. The source host and destination host should be having same processor generation and family as well. If it is Intel and AMD, it will not work. If it is Intel itself, different generation, again it will not work. It should be exactly the same. Network settings, whatever the port group, the VM is connected on the source should be available here exactly with the same name and same port VLAN ID as well. Okay, exactly the same. Port group name is case sensitive. If it is caps letter here, here also it should be caps letter spaces should be correctly provided here. And no ISO images connected to the VM. So if you have all these requirements satisfied, out of this one, and this one we can fix any point of time. Whenever we want, we can fix it. Problem is this one. We should purchase while purchasing the hardware itself. Same server, same set of servers should be ordered. That we don't need to worry. The whoever order the processor, right, they will take care of it. Okay, fine. Next, we'll see how to enable that Vmotion. We should know how to enable Vmotion. Select ESXi machine, go to configure tab, VM kernel adapter, select and click on edit, enable Vmotion. Click on OK. Right? So we'll go and check on the vCenter. Select the host, configure tab, VM kernel adapter, select the VM kernel adapter. There are two. You can select any one which you decided for Vmotion. It will be in the design documentation once you are the implementer. So designing will come from your architect. So in that they will mention like dedicated VM kernel port group for Vmotion, or you can enable on the host management network itself. Go to edit. It is not enabled as of now Vmotion. So enable it, say OK. That's fine. Or if it is a dedicated port group, you can select that dedicated port group, enable Vmotion only here. You should not enable twice on a single ESXi host. You should not enable on multiple locations. It should be enabled on any one of the port group only. Okay, if you enable both the port groups, the Vmotion will fail. Okay, we'll see the reason later during the background process. Fine. Now, see. We need two ESXi hosts to perform this lab. I'm just powering up. Now, Vmotion is enabled and rest of the things we have to verify here. Select the ESXi host, go to summary tab, check what processor it is there. Intel, say Xeon E52440. Select the other host where you want to migrate, check what is the processor that is there. So it should be exactly the same. Okay. Then say port group name. Go to the virtual machine. Let's say if you want to migrate this virtual machine, go to networks, see where it is connected, or else from here also you can connect. This will be easy. Select you want to migrate this VM from ESXi to 1211 from here to here. Right now it is disconnected, but we'll verify how to we'll see how to verify. Select this virtual machine. Summary tab, you can see it is running on ESXi.svit11, this one. Okay. And you are planning to migrate to 211. Okay. So we'll go to DC, go to networks, VM network. Double click on it or just click on it. Go to host tab, then you can see here which are all the hosts connected to this port group. Okay, both are connected, so it will be fine. Otherwise, if the destination is not visible here, we have to create a port group with the same name on this host as well. Okay, so or else manually go to the host, configure tab, virtual switches, see where is that virtual machine connected. DC, it is connected to port group called VM network and no VLAN ID. So go to second host, configure virtual switches, and you need to verify here if the same port group is available with the same VLAN ID or not. Manually, if you are checking this way. Otherwise, this will be shortcut. Simply you can click here and see whether all source and destination both are connected here. Next, ISO images. Select a virtual machine, right click, edit settings. Here, right now it is connected to CD DVD. The ISO image is still connected only. Change it to client device and click on OK. That is removed now. Okay, it's my few generic error. That's fine. Go to edit settings, set it to client device again. It will work. Okay, change it to client device. We have removed this ISO image. And there is one more common thing. The data store also should be same. Even without same data store, we can do that, but that's a different thing. VM should be on shared data store. Without this also it's possible, but normally it should be visible to the both the hosts. Okay, VM should not be in local storage. If your VM is stored in local data store, you cannot Vmotion. If this VM is stored here and you're trying to migrate, these files will not be visible to second host. Okay, it is not recommended to place on local hard disk. It should be on a shared data store. It is visible to destination as well. Yeah. Any questions as of now? Okay, next we'll see how to Vmotion it. Select virtual machine, right click on it, select migrate option, select change compute resource, select destination host, compatibility, click on OK. Next and finish. So if you, let's say if you want to migrate some 20 VMs from the source host to destination host, you don't need to manually verify on each VM whether all these 5 conditions are satisfied or not. You don't need to verify. Directly you go ahead with migration, select the virtual machine, right click, migrate. Okay. Proceed with this migration option. Here you can see the compatibility. If any of the condition is not satisfied, it will display here. Under the compatibility warnings, it will show. Fine. So then fix that problem, then cancel it here, fix that problem, and might come to migration step again. It will continue from here. If that problem is solved. You don't need to manually verify on all the VMs about these 5 requirements. Okay, man, you can directly go ahead with migration. At this stage, you can check if there are any issues or compatibility issues. If not, you can proceed further, click next. Or else simply you can do drag and drop also. That will give you directly to this step only. Select virtual machine, directly you can go to this step. Only this right click migrate option only you can avoid if you do drag and drop also. But that's why you should be very careful when you are using laptops. Once you join with any organization, when you are using touchpad, you should be careful. Sometimes, if it is double tap, right, it will be holding. You might be moving like this. The VM will migrate from here, there, and okay. When you are using this interface, recent interface, better to use mouse instead of touchpad. Okay. So, because once it is moved here and there, if it is same the host which are supposed to be migrated, that's fine. If it is outside, there may be sometimes we will be having another boundary. If it is outside the boundary, it will move off. Then we will have issues with VM connectivity, network connectivity. Fine. So we'll see here. We need 2 hosts. We'll see if these 2 hosts are up. 59 and 225. We'll first add both. They are not added to the vCenter. I'm just adding. Another one, 225. That's quite wrong. Anyone remember who has created this and its password? Password? Same one. I think it's okay. This one, 225. Network connected. Password is working. Everything is correct. Something wrong. Fine, we'll see. Other one. See, drag and drop is working like I can do. Okay, so right now the VM, let's say any one of the VM, will take this one itself, DC. I want to migrate this from ESXi to .59, this second host. Select this virtual machine, right click, migrate, change compute resource, or cancel. Just hold with left click, drag and leave it on 59. If it is allowed to leave, it will show green mark, otherwise red mark like this. Next to the name DC, you can see red mark. Here green. So leave it, it will take you to this page only. Just only that right click migrate, you can skip. Change compute resource only. Here you can select the destination host. If compatibility is green, it will say compatibility check succeeded. Okay, green. Otherwise, warnings will be there still here if there is any warning. Okay, so if I select 59, here it is showing compatibility issues. Click on show details, it will show what are the issues with respect to the source and destination. One is why after reading this message, out of this condition, which one do you think it is not satisfied? Just read it and let me know. Means family or a generation, something is not matching. Okay. Fine. The second one, Vmotion interface is not configured. So clearly showing Vmotion is not enabled on 59. So we'll cancel, we'll go to 59, VM kernel adapter, select, edit, enable. Then go here, again drag, we have to select, because there is no shared storage, that's why we have to select this one. So in this case, the second option is not showing now. Only first one is showing. Fine. Clear? So only CPU thing that we cannot fix, we need to buy other correct hardware only. Otherwise, it will proceed. If you test between two nested hosts that you create, it will work. That's why I wanted another host to bring so that it will work. It's not working. Okay, we'll fix that problem later. So you can test between any two nested hosts. Okay, you can create one more. You can power on this 211, 59 to 211. You can migrate 59 to 115. This one will work. Okay. So, any questions from Vmotion as of now? Very, very important for interview point of view. Day-to-day job, we will not have anything to work with it. Okay. Then the important interview question is again, what is happening in the background? So you are trying to migrate this VM from one host to another host without any problem. That's fine. That agreed. So it is working as expected. How is it possible completely migrate from one hardware to another hardware without interrupting it? Something like you are watching a movie in one laptop without disturbing it, you cut and paste in another laptop. It will be continuing itself. You don't feel that it is moving from one computer to another computer. Okay, completely from one hardware to another hardware. How is it possible? So the background process of virtual vMotion is very important for interview point of view. They'll ask what happened when you vMotion a VM from one host to another host, what will happen in the backend. You'll see the background procedure for vMotion. the VM status will be copied into a bitmap image. Second one, move the bitmap image from source host to destination host using VM kernel port group. Suspend the VM and source host. Resume VM and destination host. Remove temp files and the source. Okay, so this will happen in the backend. So when you initiate migration, select the virtual machine, right click, migrate, change host. When you select a destination host, it will show compatibility. After that, if you click finish, the running status is like shipping one person from one location to another location. So pack everything related to that guy and send it to destination. Same way here, when you are moving this virtual machine, how its RAM instructions are executing, CPU instructions, disk read and writes, how what are the disk communication that is happening. Everything will be packed into one file here, that in the format of bitmap image. Okay, if virtual machine information will be packed up into a bitmap image, and that image will be transferred to destination over VM kernel port group. Whichever the VM kernel port group, we have enabled Vmotion. Okay, we have enabled Vmotion here. So via that port group, this file will transfer to the destination via that port group, and wherever we have enabled it here, it will be received at using that port group here. Now, whatever the information that is needed for the virtual machine is received here. Clear? All the virtual machine live status, RAM, CPU, disk, IOs, everything is received here. Now, however, the virtual machine is executing here, it will be stopped here. So when it stays stopped, it's like the functionality of the VM will stop, and it will resume from here immediately. It will be suspended on the source and it will be resumed from the destination host. So then there will be some impact, right? There should be some impact. The application which is functionality here should be stopped and started here. Okay, but this suspend and resume will happen in less than 20 milliseconds of time. Very negligible amount of time. Something like if I do and just refresh here. Okay, here also my laptop functionality has been stopped and continued, but you did not lose anything. You still continue to get the data what is going on, even though the laptop is stopped and started, because that stopped and start is very less amount of time, even less than 20 milliseconds. That's why there will be no impact to the applications if it is suspended for this much amount of time. Clear? Whatever the business application that was running here will be halted and resumed from here. So there will be no impact to the application which was running there. It will be running here only. Because this source suspend on the source and resume on the destination will happen in less than 20 milliseconds of time. Fine. This is very negligible amount of time. So 90 to 95% applications across worldwide will support this process. Suspend and refresh still will be working. Okay. and whatever the source files which are running on the source, they will be removed automatically. The VM related information from the source host, it will be clean up like this. Now VM is continue to function from here. So 90% of the applications across worldwide, there will be no impact with this process. It will continue to function as it is. Even if there is a virtual machine impacted with this much amount of time. But there are some applications which doesn't support, even can't wait for this much amount of time. I'm saying 90% will be supported. The remaining 10% of the applications across worldwide will be impacted with this Vmotion. If you move that VM, the application which is running inside, it will stop working. Like banking applications, your email applications. Let's say you are doing some transaction, that server is migrated from here to here. In your transaction, 10 will be missed. You know the value of 0, right? In banking transactions. So like that. So those sensitive applications, we will run on this infrastructure only, but we don't Vmotion here and there frequently. We'll stop it here only. Will not migrate that VM from this host to another host. Okay. So remaining VMs we can migrate here and there, except that critical application which doesn't support Vmotion. There are 5 to 10% applications across worldwide which doesn't support Vmotion. So we don't Vmotion them frequently. Okay. Clear? Any question? So this is the background process for Vmotion. If some motion, they may ask like 6 to 7 questions from this Vmotion itself. What is Vmotion? Prerequisites for Vmotion, purpose of Vmotion. Okay, which port group is used for Vmotion? What is the background process for Vmotion? Okay. So moving powered on virtual machine from one host to another host without interrupting the applications is called Vmotion or live migration or hot migration. All are same. Files will be in the same data store. We are not touching the files. Files will be in the same location. Only VM will be migrated from one host to another host. And there are some requirements like same CPU family and generation. Vmotion should be enabled on port group. VM should be on a shared storage. Okay. No CD DVDs connected to the VM. Once all the conditions are satisfied, just drag and drop or select migrate option on the virtual machine, right click and select the destination host. You can verify the compatibility, then migrate. If any of the compatibility is not succeeded, just fix it, then migrate again. CD, port group, whatever it is, Vmotion. So fix it, then migrate. The background process is the running status of the virtual machine. RAM, CPU, disk status, however it is running on the source VM will be captured into a bitmap image by the source host. And that image will be moved to the destination host over VM kernel port group, which we have enabled. Once it is moved, all the information that is needed for this VM to run is available here. So it will stop here and it will continue to function from here. That stopping and starting is called IO stun. Stun means just halted. Input and output functional transactions will be halted for less than 20 milliseconds of time. Normally, 90% of the business applications will not have any problem if IO is stunned for this much amount of time. Okay, so that's why the virtual machine will try to continue from the second host. And there are some applications which will be impacted if IO is stunned for this much amount of time. Those virtual machines, we will not use Vmotion. They will be running as it is on the same host only. For some reason, if you want to migrate them, there is a different procedure for them. We will discuss later. Okay, so we'll stop the application, migrate it. So there will be another 2 machines will be running. If application is running here, if it is critical one, right, it's a secondary machine will be here. We will make it as primary and this will be secondary. So application will not function from here. Then we can migrate Vmotion this host. So that we will see later, those critical applications. which doesn't support Vmotion. If you want to do Vmotion, there is a different process for them. Clear? Any question? Fine. So the important interview question from this page. What is Vmotion? Prerequisites for Vmotion. And what is the port number for Vmotion? What is the port number? Vmotion background. So almost 6 to 7, even more questions they can form from this Vmotion term. Port for Vmotion is 8000. That's what you said before. And as for port, you said like port group, you said port 8000. Okay, so any question? Okay, all are important for interview point of view. In day-to-day job, you will not have anything to work with Vmotion. It will be automatically happening. Fine. Any questions?